Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Grow with Google presentation. Um, this week we'll be focusing on digital skills for everyday tasks. So this workshop is basically designed to help you learn how to create some very basic documents using the Google Online Tools, also known as the G Suite. We're just going to create some very basic document types, and you'll notice, those of you who are familiar with Microsoft Office, these apps that I'm going to show you parallel pretty closely to the Microsoft Office equivalents like Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel. But this is just training you on how to do certain basic functions with the Google versions of those apps. And there are some advantages to the Google apps that we'll be going over as we go through the presentation today. And so that's where we're going to start. But before we get into the G Suite more specifically, I just wanted to go over again some tips for working remotely. Many people are going to be working remotely, perhaps for the rest of this year, perhaps into next year. And it's a new experience for all of us. I just recently actually came back to the library in person 5 days a week just this week. So I was working at home for almost 6 months. So it is a big transition. And these are just some tips that will help you become a better worker at home. We covered some of this in a previous video, but I just wanted to briefly review it again. So some of the key tips are: keep your routine. Try to stick to a work schedule even though you're at home. Create a dedicated work spot and customize it. So you really want to create a space somewhere in your home that feels like a work area, and that when you go there, all you do is work. And decorate it like you decorate your desk or your office at work. You know, make it your own, and sort of feel like you control that environment. Schedule lunch and breaks. Simple thing, but again, it's important to keep to as close to a normal routine, quote unquote, as you can. So just like you would at your own workplace, you should have some time to have a break or have lunch and sort of disconnect for at least a few minutes, and just kind of unwind a little bit, and that'll make you a more effective worker. Make sure you have all the tools you need. So you don't want to be scrambling around all day looking for things. That dedicated workspace should have everything you need to be successful at what you're trying to do that day. Creating daily to-do lists. Again, this can help keep you organized, keep you on task, because it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to get sidetracked when you're at home. There's a million and one distractions. And it can even become difficult to remember what you were supposed to be doing that day. So a to-do list helps with that tremendously. Give your coworkers grace. Understand that, again, like I said earlier, we're all in this challenge together. It's a weird, difficult time. Give them the benefit of the doubt, basically. And finally, if you're not quote unquote at work, don't work. So again, if you are after hours at your home and you've AKA sort of clocked off for the day, you shouldn't jump back in to work, because that will be, again, over the long run, probably unhealthy, both physically and mentally and emotionally. So when you're home, you're home, and when you're at work, you're at work. And even though they're in the same physical building, there should be a very clear delineation between those two things. And sort of keeping on target when you're doing remote work, you want to keep track of those to-do lists that we just mentioned before. So stay true to them, stay on them, and try to honor them as best you can. Collaboration, very different in a virtual environment, obviously, but one of the best ways to collaborate is through virtual shared documents. We actually use a virtual document at the library now every day to keep track of our curbside pickup service. It's a great way to stay collaborative, even if you're in the same building and you're practicing social distancing. And finally, communicate with your team. Share that progress often as you can, because it's easy to assume that somebody's aware of what you're doing, but they might not be. And it's not simply a matter of going to the desk next to you and tapping somebody on the shoulder to let them know where you are in a project. You need to constantly be communicating virtually. to keep them up to date. So today's agenda, we're going to sign into our Google account like we do every week pretty much. We're going to access our Google Drive. We're going to make a to-do list in Google Sheets, which Google Sheets is equivalent would be Microsoft Excel in the office world. We're going to create a meeting agenda in Google Docs. The equivalent in Microsoft would be Microsoft Word. And we're going to build a status update presentation in Google Slides, and Google Slides would map onto PowerPoint. So we're just going to basically create a basic document in each one of those three sort of classic Office apps using Google. Sign into your Google account. So we've been over this a few times now, but we'll go over it again. You have to be signed into your Google account, which some of you may think of as your Gmail account. Gmail is one of those services that is under the umbrella of all the other Google services. So that meaning your Gmail login is your Google login. They're one and the same. If you don't have one, you can create one right on the screen as they're demonstrating here. And if you have one but you forgot your password, then the critical thing is to use the password forget tool to get that reset. Once you're signed in the upper right corner, you'll see a grid of 3x3 with boxes. That icon is the gateway to the Google Applications family. So we've already mentioned Gmail. I'll go right to left. We've already mentioned Gmail. Many of you may already have Gmail. Chrome is their web browser. Again, many of you may already use Chrome. Photos, so you can actually store your photos in the cloud with Google and share them very easily. Slides, as we mentioned before, that's the equivalent of PowerPoint in the Microsoft Office world. Docs, that's the equivalent of Microsoft Word. And Sheets, that is the equivalent of Excel. And again, today we're going to be focusing on the three towards the left of this picture, the Sheets, the Docs, and the Slides. So Google Drive is sort of, think of it as your hard drive that lives on Google. It's cloud-based, and all that simply means is that all the information on it is stored on remote servers. So it's very safe in terms of it won't fail on you like a hard drive can. It's got built-in redundancy and safeguards to prevent that. And the other advantage of Google Drive is that being cloud-based, it makes it very easy to access your drive anywhere that has an internet connection from any device. So that can be a computer, that can be a laptop, that can be a mobile phone, that can be a tablet. It doesn't matter what operating system that device is running, whether it be Windows or Mac OS or a mobile operating system, you're going to be able to access that information anywhere the internet is available. And furthermore, you're going to be able to share those documents with anyone very easily. So it's sort of supercharged hard drive is the best way to describe it. It's more accessible and more secure than a standard hard drive. And you access it, as they're showing you in this illustration here, by clicking that 3x3 grid of boxes and then clicking on Drive, which is the third option on the first row of apps. We're signed in to our Google account and we've accessed our Google Drive. The first task we're going to complete today is creating a to-do list with Google Sheets. And so throughout this presentation, please note the animated graphics that will accompany the critical slides. I'm going to let them play several times just so you can see them a few times. So in this case, what we're going to do is now that we're in the drive, we're going to click the new button to the left. And then we're going to go to Google Sheets, and we're going to select From Template and then To-Do List. And this is simply because while we could create a to-do list completely from scratch, when there's a template available that will help make our job easier, there's simply no reason not to use it. Now you might think if you're used to working with traditional spreadsheets with rows and cells, this template may look a little strange. And again, if you did a blank spreadsheet, you would get the very traditional rows and cells look of a spreadsheet. But while this looks different, it's just as useful as a regular spreadsheet. And so again, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Google Sheets, we're going to open up From Template, and then we're going to click on To-Do List. And so you'll notice there's two columns and that we can populate with data. There's task and there's date. So you can go ahead and actually click those areas on each line, such as line number 7 here, which isn't filled in yet. And you can go ahead and you can add a date and you can add a task. And again, this is just, unless you're actually making a to-do list that you plan on using, this is just an academic exercise, so you could put whatever you want in those fields. But feel free to go ahead and enter that data. And so now we're going to actually show you what that looks like. And if you follow the hand here, we can also delete rows as well. And that is the text box where you're going to actually enter in the data that you're looking to enter. So in this case, they're entering a task that says prepare the budget for review on 8/9. In this case, it's 2000, so that date's probably erroneous, so we're going to go ahead and update it to a more current date. Although, of course, this presentation was made earlier this year, so again, 5/23 is also erroneous, but you get the idea. You can go ahead and you can customize those dates and those tasks to be relevant and reflect what you want to do. And you can see we're also revising this date as well to be a little bit more current. Now you can also add additional columns and rows to your to-do list, and they're going to go ahead and show you how you go ahead by using the insert feature here, which you can also see in the top menu, File, Edit, View, Insert. And they've gone ahead and they've installed or inserted a row D, or column D, I should say. And they're setting this up to be the owner of these tasks. Of course, you can go ahead and click and make it anything you want it to be, but they're just going in ahead and inputting some names for these demo to-do lists. So again, you're going to go up and you're going to go ahead and insert one column to the right. That makes column D in this case. You can go ahead and give it a name, in this case owner, and then you can go ahead and populate those cells with whatever data is relevant to you. So formatting, this helps make your sheet more readable, or maybe help it make more sense to you. You have the full array of formatting tools. They're going to start here with fill color. So right now it's green. They just changed it to blue. And again, watch the animation as they show you how to do that. But basically, you're just going to click that little fill color icon up and to the right. They're now going to go ahead and select the text. And once again, just showing you how to change that color to blue. Now you can also change font size, font style, even font color. So, this is where, usually in spreadsheets you don't get to show your creative side, but if you feel like exercising it, this is where you can play around with all kinds of settings and colors. And as you can see, even though this is not Microsoft Excel and this is an online cloud-based spreadsheet, it's pretty robust in its feature set. You can do pretty much anything you want to do. So that's something to keep in mind, because a lot of people think, oh, if it's a cloud-based or it's a free tool, that it won't be that fully featured. This is pretty darn fully featured. And so now that we've created this to-do list, we can go ahead and we can look at it in our Google Drive. So if you go to My Drive, you're going to go ahead and you'll see that document right there. It's really nice how it basically automatically saves for you. And again, not only is it automatically saving for you, it's saving it to the cloud, which is a lot more secure from a reliability standpoint than your own internal hard drive, which probably most of you out there have experienced at least one hard drive failure in your life, and it's not pleasant. When you have an enterprise-grade server rack, your data is backed up in multiple places, so it's not dependent on any one drive staying alive. And again, as we mentioned earlier, it makes it a lot easier to share your documents with collaborators. It's really just 2 clicks. For our next task, we are going to create a virtual meeting agenda using Google Docs. Now, if some of you have seen my previous video on creating a resume with Google Docs, you might already be somewhat familiar with Google Docs. But just in case you haven't, it's the word processing tool built into the G Suite. And we're just going to show you how to create a simple agenda using one of their templates. So let's go ahead and move ahead here. So you're going to access Google Docs very much the same way you accessed your Google Sheet, by clicking on New, and then Google Docs, and then from a template. And you'll notice we have a meeting notes template all the way to the right on the first row. And so we'll just go ahead and show you that again. Google Docs, from a template, and then the template all the way to the right, meeting notes Coral. So once you have that selected, this is sort of the default text. You'll notice it's the classic lorem ipsum dolor sit-omet boilerplate that you've probably seen in other places. You can just go ahead and select that text and start editing it and putting in what's relevant to you. And again, they're just going to show you how to do that right here by selecting the text, highlighting it, pressing your backspace or delete key, and then go ahead and entering in what you want to put in there. So very, very simple. Works basically exactly the same way as Microsoft Word if you're familiar with that program. We can also format the text, and we're going to go ahead and show you how to do that in this slide. You can change lists from numbered lists to bullet lists using that menu option they're showing you in the upper right corner there. We can also change font size, style, and color. So let's see how that works. We select the text, and then we're just going to go ahead and mosey on up to those formatting tools. Here's the color. So we've made that a nice blue. You'll notice that the menu options are the same as they were in Google Sheets. So the nice thing is once you learn one of these tools, you kind of learn the other ones sort of by osmosis in a way. And again, we'll just go over this one more time. This is showing you how to change it to a bulleted list. That was previously a numbered list, and now we're just going to show you how to change the color on the font here. So just go ahead and select it. Now we're just going to move our way up to the top. There's our color picker, and there it is. We can also insert comments. This is great, especially if you're collaborating with someone else on a document. You can select text, and it'll automatically append your name to the comment so that everybody will know who said what very easily. So you just add your comment, and then you tap the comment button in blue, and it will go ahead and add that comment. So again, you're going to select the text, click that little plus button in the speech bubble to the right, go ahead and add your comment, and then click on the blue button to save it to the document. So again, this is a great feature for collaboration. You can select a comment, and then you can also share the comment with other people. So if you wanted to basically make somebody aware that you've added a comment to a document, you'll notice she's putting in this example, the plus and then the Gmail address of this person. And she's saying we need an update on the budget, exclamation points. This is important, I suppose. She goes ahead and she checks it to assign it to that person, and then she clicks assign. So again, if you want to sort of clue people into your comment, you don't want to sit there and wait for them to open up the document and find it themselves. This is how you do that process. So just go ahead and watch it one more time on the screen as the animation shows you how to do that. It's that plus, that's the key, before the email address. That's what lets the program know that you're looking to share this with someone else. So she's typed her comment, and she's going to go ahead and assign it to that person, and then click assign. And that's it. Again, we mentioned one of the advantages of Google Drive is the ability to very easily share your files with other people. And so this is going to show you how to do that. And the other nice thing about it is you can specify the level of access that that person has. So you can give them the ability to edit the document, you can give them the ability to comment, or you can give them just the ability to view. And you can add as many people as you want in that little bar right up there. There's really no limit on that. Or you can simply share with just one person if that's all you need. And then you can also add a note. So, you know, if you're sharing it and there's something specific you want them to call to their attention, you can go ahead and do that as well. And so this kind of shows you two different paths here. So on the left, we have someone who's looking to share this document with 3 people. They put in their comment, here's the agenda for our event. Notify people. I would usually leave that checked because unless it's really not that important, you probably want them to know, like, hey, they want to see it. You want them to see that in their email that you've shared a document with them. And they just hit send. On the right, we have the same sort of thing, except this time we're only sharing it with planner number 1. So we're just sharing this with one person. Same process. Put in your note, check off notify, and then hit the blue send button. So for our final task today, because I'm sure you're getting tired at this point, we're going to go ahead and show you how to create a status update presentation using Google Slides. So Google Slides, again, is the PowerPoint equivalent in the G Suite of applications. This should be pretty old hat to you by now. We're going to create our presentation the same way we've created our previous 2 projects. So we're going to click on New, and then Google Slides, and then From a Template. And these are some of the nice templates they have. We're going to scroll down a bit to the Work section. And then on the top row all the way to the right is the status report template. And that's the one you're going to select for this exercise. And there it is loading up. And so once again, we're going to click on New on our Google Drive, and then Google Slides, and then From a Template. And then we're just going to scroll down to the Work section and choose Status Update. And again, to make it clear, when you create and you open a template in Google Docs, it's automatically saved immediately to your Google Drive. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so our first slide is our title slide. And you can see that the template has given us in slide number 1 the outline of a title slide. And we're just going to go ahead and you can alter this text any way you want. Very similar to the way that we altered the text in the previous projects. You're just going to select it, hit the delete or backspace key, and then enter in the text that you want to use instead of what the placeholder text has. And so in this example, they're editing the both the main title and the subtitle, as well as the date, to make it relevant to what they're doing. So you can follow along and just use the text they're using if you just want to practice, or again, if you're actually going to make your own sheet today, you can go ahead, or I should say slideshow, you can go ahead and edit this text to be relevant to what you're trying to do. And I'm just going to let it go ahead and play for you one more time, just so you can see everything one more time. So we're selecting, we're editing, we're we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the same thing down below. And put in our new text. It's that easy. And again, it's automatically saved. And now you can also change the position as well. So in this case, they pulled it up a little bit. So the next thing that we want to do is select layouts. So if you'll notice, they're clicking that little arrow next to the plus sign. And here are sort of the different basic slide types we have available. And in the bold text underneath each one, you can see what it is. And so this is the layout that this person chose for slide number 2 in their presentation. Again, this will vary based on what you're trying to accomplish and what kind of layout would be the best way for you to convey that information. In this case, they kind of went for title with a subtitle. So very, very basic slide layout here. Now that you have the slide layout, you're going to want to go ahead and format. So in this case, they're going to use a blank slide, just so you can kind of see all the tools and tricks you can do. You might want to add an image. In this case, they're going to go ahead and search the web for an image. And they're looking for a marketing image. So they're just going to go ahead and scroll through all the options here. They find the one they want and they click on it to select it. And then the Google Sheets will automatically, excuse me, I keep saying that, I apologize. The Google Slides will automatically import that image right into the slide. So once again, we're going to click our little arrow next to the plus. In this example, they're choosing a blank slide because they want to put a graphic in with no text. They're going to go to select Insert Image, search the web. You can also upload from your computer, of course, if you have one saved locally that you want to use. They're going to kind of look over their options here. And once they find the perfect image for what they're looking to do, they're going to go ahead and click on it to select it. And then it will import into the slide. So collaborations. You'll notice you have your share button in the upper right corner again. And you can go ahead and add names or email addresses to share this document with other people. Extremely easy to do. So in this case, we're sharing it with Yara. And just as with the sheet, you can go ahead and set different levels of permission. In this case, they're going to give this person editor power, so this person can actually save changes to the document. And those changes would be reflected on your copy, on your Google Drive, immediately. So you only want to give editor power to those people who really should have the power to edit the document, because they will go ahead and edit your document, which is really now sort of shared completely. Once again, they're just showing you how to do it there. And we're just going to go ahead and share it just like that. Very easy to collaborate again. So, just to recap what we've done today, we created a to-do list in Google Sheets. We showed you how to use templates, in this case, to get off to a running start. That gives you the basis to go ahead and edit and create your own to-do list. We then moved on to Google Docs and we created an agenda. We showed you how to select, edit, and format text. We showed you how to make a comment. And we also showed you how to share that comment and assign it to another person. And then finally, we just talked about Google Slides. We showed you how to make an example status report presentation using the template. We showed you how to edit a slide, how to create a slide layout, how to import a graphic into a slide. We've covered some of these other apps in our previous videos. So we've covered Calendar and Meet. We have covered Slides in this one, of course. But these are the basic apps. We haven't done Sites and we haven't done Forms, but those are also very powerful tools that you can explore on your own. for creating a website or creating a survey that you want to send out to people online. That just about wraps it up for this Grow with Google session. I hope you found it useful. So coming in September, I'm going to be doing some live events. They're things I've covered already, but this time I'll be doing them live. So a chance to be a little bit more interactive. You can go to montvillelibrary.org and then click on the event calendar to sign up for those events in September. They'll be on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. And then in addition to me, we're also going to have a guest make a presentation as well about LinkedIn. So go check the calendar, sign up for those if you wish, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.